The artifact changed everything. For weeks, it sat on a wooden table inside my workshop. Every blacksmith in the kingdom examined it. Every craftsman studied it. Nobody understood it. The metal was stronger than anything we had produced. The surface was perfectly smooth. No hammer marks. No imperfections. No flaws. It looked impossible. And the more I studied it, the more one conclusion became unavoidable. Someone else was out there. Someone advanced. Someone capable of things we couldn't yet imagine. The question was no longer whether another civilization existed. The question was how powerful they were and whether they already knew about us. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Every road we built, every machine we invented, every farm we planted, all of it suddenly felt smaller. Because somewhere beyond the mountains, another civilization had already walked this path, perhaps centuries before us. Eventually, I made a decision. We would find them, not with an army, not with warriors, with explorers. The kingdom had spent months looking inward. Now it was time to look outward. Preparations began immediately. Maps were updated, supplies were gathered. The strongest scouts volunteered. Blacksmiths forged new equipment. Farmers donated food for the journey. The expedition quickly became a kingdom-wide effort. Everyone wanted answers. 3 weeks later, the expedition departed. I watched them disappear into the eastern mountains. For a long time, nobody moved. Because we all understood what this meant. For the first time in history, our kingdom was exploring the unknown. Weeks passed, then months. Life continued. The farms expanded, trade increased, the roads connected more settlements, steam experiments improved, the kingdom prospered. But every evening, I found myself staring toward the eastern horizon, waiting, wondering, hoping. Then one morning, the scouts returned. The entire valley erupted into celebration. They looked exhausted, older, changed but alive. And they had stories, stories that sounded impossible. At first, nobody believed them. Then they showed us what they had brought back. More artifacts, tools, pieces of machinery, fragments of technology far beyond our own. The kingdom fell silent. The stories were true. There really was another civilization. And according to the scouts, it was enormous, far larger than anything we had imagined. The expedition leader spread a map across the table. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear, from excitement. He pointed toward the eastern mountains. Beyond them, far beyond them, a vast network of roads crossed the landscape. Stone bridges spanned rivers. Fortified settlements guarded trade routes. Entire cities existed where we expected wilderness. Cities. The word barely felt real. Our kingdom had villages, towns, fortresses, but cities? The scale was difficult to imagine. Then the scouts described the people. They weren't tribes, they weren't scattered clans. They belonged to something larger, something organized, something unified. An empire. The room became completely silent. An empire, not a kingdom, an empire. Suddenly our achievements felt very small. For months I had believed we were building the future. Now I realized we were catching up to it. The scouts continued. The empire controlled enormous territory, millions of people, advanced workshops, complex engineering, massive armies. Everything we had worked so hard to create, they already possessed, and much more. Yet one detail stood out. The empire wasn't expanding, it wasn't conquering, it wasn't preparing for war. Instead, it appeared to be declining, slowly, quietly. Something was wrong. Even the scouts noticed it. Roads were less busy than expected. Fortresses were understaffed. Villages seemed anxious. People avoided certain topics. Nobody would explain why. The more information we gathered, the stranger it became. The empire existed. The empire was powerful. But the empire was afraid. Afraid of something. And nobody knew what. That mystery consumed me. If an empire feared something, what had possibly threatened it? Months later, I decided to see it myself. The advisors opposed the idea. The generals hated it. The farmers called it madness. They were probably right, but I couldn't ignore the opportunity. History was waiting beyond those mountains. Eventually, a small group was assembled. Scouts, engineers, guards, explorers. The journey east began. The farther we traveled, the stranger the world became. Roads appeared. Old roads, ancient roads, built with engineering far beyond anything we understood. Massive bridges crossed canyons. Ruins emerged from forests. Abandoned watchtowers overlook forgotten valleys. Evidence of a civilization far older than our own. Weeks turned into months. Then one evening, we finally saw it. At first, I thought it was a mountain range. Then I realized the truth. Walls, gigantic walls, stretching farther than the eye could see. Behind them, towers pierced the clouds. Smoke rose from thousands of chimneys. Roads converged from every direction. The scale was overwhelming. I stood frozen. Because for the first time since arriving in this world, I felt small, very small. The scouts had been right. This wasn't a kingdom. This wasn't even an empire. It was something greater, something ancient, something powerful. And somehow it was afraid. As night fell, lights illuminated the city. Thousands, then tens of thousands. The horizon itself seemed to glow. I had never seen anything like it. Nobody in our group had. For several minutes, we simply stared. Then one of the guards spoke, a single sentence, a sentence none of us would ever forget. "If they're this powerful," he whispered, "what are they hiding from?" Nobody answered, because deep down, we were all thinking the same thing, and for the first time, I wasn't excited anymore. I was worried, very worried. The next morning, the gates of the great city opened, and what emerged from them changed everything.